Now, Carrie. This was a movie I was very interested in seeing. Mostly, well, not mostly, half because I was a Stephen King fan and half because I was a fan of the original movie. And I was really kind of interested in seeing what they were going to do for this remake. I would warn people that there are spoilers in this review, but really, if you don't know the story of Carrie by now, I really don't know what to tell you. Both the book and the original movie are at least 40 years old at this point. Like, so if you don't know the story of the girl with psychic powers who goes insane at prom and kills all of her classmates, I don't know. I don't know where you've been. Like, read the book. Please, read the book. It's not a very long book. I mean, hang on. Like, this is the entire book. This is the whole book right here. This isn't big. You could easily knock this out in like 2 hours tops. And, like, it's on about 250 pages. Like, there's no excuse why you shouldn't read this book. Absolutely none. So stop being lazy and read it. But basically, I mean, as far as that's concerned, you know the plot if you know Carrie. You know every little thing that happens. There's nothing new in this movie. There are no curveballs being thrown at you. It's essentially... Not essentially, it is the exact same thing you've seen in the book, the original movie, even the made-for-TV movie in 2002. It's the exact same. So if you're going and thinking, oh, they're going to put like a different kind of twist on it, no, it's the exact same. The only difference is that it's kind of in a more modern setting. But even that's kind of debatable, considering they don't really... I don't actually think they gave you a year on it. Maybe they did. I don't remember. As far as the actors are concerned... The only actors you're really going to recognize are Chloe Grace Moretz and Julianne Moore. I have no idea who the other kids are. We'll probably never see them again. Whatever. Acting-wise, nobody's really a major... No one's really that good in this movie, to be perfectly honest. They range from passable to just, oh, please get off the camera. Even Julianne Moore, who, you know, has a very worthwhile career. Like, she's done some really great films. Even she seems like she's really kind of hamming it up for the camera. Like, every scene that she in... I mean, I guess... Yes, Carrie's mother is very much a unique kind of character in that she's both emotionally compromised and a complete psychopath. But even by those standards, like, she... I don't know. Julianne Moore seemed like she was really being really hammy for this role. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. Chloe Moretz... She's probably the best performance in the entire movie, and even then, I wouldn't say she's brilliant. Although how she played the prom scene probably makes her my favorite rendition of Carrie thus far, because she was really, really good in the prom scene. Just the rest of the movie, she was kind of but for that one scene, like, that was kind of what makes her my favorite, because of how she portrayed that. The prom scene, for me, and this is going off the original film, but for me, the prom scene in the original movie is one of, if not the scariest moments in cinematic history I've ever experienced in my entire life. When I first saw it as a kid, it gave me nightmares for a month. And even now, I can't really watch it without feeling this sense of unease over me. Because it's such an iconic scene. It's such an atmospheric scene. You feel claustrophobic while you're watching it. You feel like you're boxed in on all sides and you have no choice but to watch as this girl who's been tormented for years, this girl with these psychic powers, just brutally murders every single one of her classmates that have tormented her over the years. Just flat out kills. No remorse given. No cares in the world. Just massacre. That's all the prom scene is a complete massacre by this girl who isn't even moving. Another thing about the classic is that you could very much believe that it was something that could really happen. Not so much the psychic girl part, but just the fact that just the being trapped in a gymnasium and all this shit going on, like the sprinklers going off and the doors being locked and, you know, the basketball hoop swinging down and, you know, basically crushing someone in half, and fires and electricity, like just those kind of accidental things that theoretically could happen during a prom, that really kind of make it feel more realistic. I mean, not so much the floating hose bit, but you get what I mean. If you take out the psychic girl part, you could honestly believe it was just a series of unfortunate events that led to an entire graduating class being murdered. And that's kind of what makes it scary. On top of the camera work, the music, the entire atmosphere of the scene, oh man, I can't say enough about the classic prom scene. Like, it's so good. How does the prom scene compare in this movie? Well, I still felt uneasy. It still made me feel sick in my gut, but I think it was mostly just because I knew what was coming. And I knew that they were just going to drag it out, and then when it happened, it was going to be big. And it was. And I did feel that sense of unease that I normally feel when I watch the scene, but it was for the same reason. The big issue I have is that it is a CGI extravaganza. Like, holy God. How much money did they put into this one scene to make it look like a freaking, I don't know, Rain of Fire kind of ordeal? I mean, there's so much CGI in this movie, with the fires and the explosion and the girl getting thrown right into a door, and just every little thing. It felt unnecessary, and especially that slow-mo scene with the Billy and Chris's car. Like, what the hell was that? What, did they bring in, like, the slow-mo guys to do effects for that? Because that was entirely unnecessary, that slow-motion bit. Another thing about this prom scene is that it didn't really felt like it was that catastrophic. Like, I didn't get the sense that an entire class had been murdered. In fact, it looked like there were a lot more survivors that made it out than there were, victims. And I mean, I guess I shouldn't be complaining about more people living, but the fact is that the reason Carrie has such an impact is because she outright slaughters an entire class and then destroys half the town. Here, it's very much... The damage seems minimalistic in comparison to the past renditions. Like, it doesn't feel... I don't get that sense of this is something really serious that's going on, or at least something that's going to shake this entire town's foundations. It doesn't really feel like that. I mean, I guess that kind of makes me look sadistic when I complain about that, but I don't know. It's just something that kind of bugged me. And the bit at the end was just weird. I mean, the confrontation between, Carrie and Sue, that was okay. I was fine with that. Although, in the book, she miscarried, and it didn't look like she was miscarrying in the movie. It seemed like she was still pregnant. I don't know. But the bit at the end with the cracks in the grave, like... Okay, I get that you were kind of going for that, hand shooting out of the grave thing kind of ending that was in the original, but if you're going to do that, then actually have the hand shoot out of the grave and have it be a dream. Like, that's perfectly fine. I mean, it's a remake. You can do that. Or even just don't do anything like that. Just have the movie end. But even the cracks in the grave, it not only did it look stupid and look like a waste of CGI, but it seemed to give off the impression that Carrie was still alive. Like, it wasn't a dream, it wasn't, like, a hallucination. It seemed like she was still alive in that grave. And that's not the point of that scene. The point was that Sue dreaming that hand coming out was something that was going to traumatize her for the rest of her life. Or it would seem to indicate that what happened was going to traumatize her for the rest of her life. But here it seems to indicate that Carrie is, in fact, still alive, and that's completely besides the point. Plus, why would Carrie still be alive? I mean, the house came down on her. I don't know. It just seemed kind of weird. Overall, in terms of how it stands as a movie, it's okay. It's nothing amazing. It's an entertaining movie with no surprises thrown in. It's predictable. As far as remakes go, I've seen worse. I sat through Rob Zombie's Halloween movies. This really isn't a bad remake. I would not go so far as to say that. It's a simple run-of-the-mill remake, but it does a lot better than a lot of remakes we've gotten over the last few years. And on that merit, I'd say this is an okay movie to see. I would recommend this if you're a fan of Carrie or Stephen King or whatnot. There's really nothing offensive about this movie, not that I can see. Although if you are easily triggered by cutting scenes or self-abuse, you probably shouldn't watch it, or at least have your eyes closed during some bits, because Julianne Moore really plays up the self-abuse in this movie. Like, really unnecessarily so. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. So yeah, Carrie, I would give a pass. It's worth seeing. And now on to the last one.
If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, a favorite, subscribe to the channel, post it on Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Google+, Reddit, something awful, spray paint on buildings, make a flag of it, get it tattooed in your forearm, get it branded into your forehead. This is SickSlickProductions saying keep the spirit of the movies alive.